Okay, today we're going to continue learning the narrative elements by learning about the elements of a story's plot. So first up, you have the do now, and your question for today is what makes a story a story? So here what I'm looking for is for you to tell me what are the components or pieces or elements that make up a story. How do you know it's a story when you're reading a story? What gives you a clue that the story is a story? You have 5 minutes to write a response in your notebooks. Start now. Okay, anybody want to share their stories? And at this point I would have different students share what they thought a story or the pieces of a story are, and we together would come to a conclusion of what we think makes up a story, and then that would segment way into the aim for today is to be able to identify the elements of a story plot. Okay, plot contains the various pieces that make up a story, so by the end of the lesson today you should be able to identify the elements of a story's plot. So we're going to begin with the definition of plot, and throughout this PowerPoint presentation what I need you to do is I need you to take notes of the writing that's highlighted in orange and the titles of the slides you want to write down. So we're going to begin with this slide. You're going to write down plot, and plot is the sequence of events that make up a story. Every plot is made up of a series of incidents that are related to one another. That's what you would be writing. So just to review, plot is a sequence of events that make up a story. In a story, everything that happens in a story is related to each other and causes something else to happen. So all of the pieces of the story fit together, sort of like the pieces of a puzzle. The way that we're going to look at the story's plot today, or the way we're going to analyze it or identify the parts, is by using a plot diagram. So the plot follows the steps of these diagrams in order. If you notice, the diagram is numbered. So what happens first, what happens second, third, fourth, and fifth, which is the end of the story. So it's going to take us through the sequence or order of events in the story. The first element or part of the story's plot is the exposition. In the exposition, the very beginning of the story, we learn who the characters are, what the setting is, and we are introduced to the main conflict in the story. So again, you should be writing down the title and all of the orange highlighted words. The second part of the story plot is the rise in action. This part of the story begins to develop the conflicts, incidents that build interest or suspense occur in the story. So here basically the writer is trying to drag you in or pull you into the story. So we start to learn the conflicts gets a little bit more complicated, and the writer tries to start building suspense, which is going to lead us up to the next part of the plot, which is the climax. So this is what most people refer to as the most exciting part of the story. So during this part of the story, or what you will see, is that it's a turning point, right? The main character comes face to face with a conflict or problem, and the main character changes in some way. Okay, so again, you want to look for the main character coming face to face with the problem in the story, and after the character comes face to face with this problem, the character is going to change in some way. So you see our man is at the top of the pyramid. That tells you that it is the turning point of the story, because he's right here at the top of our little pyramid. In the falling action, the character has come face to face with a problem. Now the story is starting to come to an end. Okay, so now it's going to start to take a turn. And now all the events that happen give the reader a clue that the story is coming to an end. All loose ends of the plot are tied up, the conflicts and the claimants are taken care of, and then finally we are at the resolution where everything is solved, there's an end to the story, and the character usually, not always, the character usually learns some sort of lesson, which is referred to as the theme of a story. So now that we went through our little plot pyramid, you took notes, you know what the pieces are, what you're going to do is we're going to listen to a story, the story that everybody should know, The Three Little Pigs, and what I'm going to do is show you how to pick out the pieces of the story plot in the Three Little Pigs story. So sit back and listen to the story.
Hello, this is Natasha, and I'm dropping by with an extremely famous and exciting story called The Three Little Pigs. It's about two very silly little pigs and one rather clever one. There was once a family of pigs. The mother pig was very poor, and so she sent her three little pigs out to seek their fortunes. The first that went off met a man with a bundle of straw, and he said to him, "Please, man, give me that straw to build me a house." Which the man did, and the little pig built a house with it. Presently came a wolf, and he knocked at the door and said, little pig, let me come in." To which the pig answered, "No, no, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin. The wolf then answered to that, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed, and he puffed, and he blew his house in, and ate up the little pig. The second little pig met a man with a bundle of sticks, and he said, "Please, man, give me those sticks to build a house." Which the man did, and the pig built his house. Then along came the wolf and said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." So he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and at last he blew the house down, and he ate up the little pig. The third little pig met a man with a load of bricks, and said, "Please, man, give me those bricks to build a house with." So the man gave him the bricks, and he built his house with them. And so the wolf came, and as he did to the other little pigs, he said, little pig, let me come in." "No, no, not by the hair of my chinny chin. Well, I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in." And he huffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed, and he could not get the house down. When he found that he could not with all his huffing and puffing blow the house down, he said, "Little pig, I know where there is a nice field of turnips." "Where?" said the little pig. "Oh, in Mr. Smith's home field, and if you will be ready tomorrow morning, I will call for you." we will go together and get some dinner. Very well, said the little pig. I will be ready. Hello, this is Natasha.
Okay, so the students would continue watching it, and when it is done, then I would go over this plot diagram with the visuals of the three little pigs. So here we just heard the story of the three little pigs. So let's see how now we're going to go through and recognize those 5 elements of the story plot. And right, so first, remember I told you we had the exposition. Right, the exposition. In the exposition, you get to know the characters, right? And here, the conflict starts. So here we get introduced in the exposition. We get introduced to the characters, and the three little pigs leave home for the first time because that is the beginning of the action. So as we move up our plot pyramid, we go to all of the events, the rising action. This is where we are now, the rising action. So it's a series of events leading up. So after the little pigs leave home, the first little pig builds his house out of straw. Then the wolf comes along, right, and blows the house down. The second little pig builds his house out of wood. And the wolf comes along, blows his house down. And then the third little pig, which is a smart little pig, built his house out of bricks. The wolf comes along, and what happened? Yeah, he can't blow the house down because the house is made out of bricks, and he doesn't have enough wind to blow the house down. So the wolf tries to trick the pig to come out of the house. So now we're at the most exciting part of the story, which is a climax. So the wolf gets frustrated. The pig won't come out. The wolf gets frustrated, and he decides, okay, you don't want to come out. I'm going to go down the chimney. So the wolf goes down the chimney. Now we're in suspense. We want to know what's going to happen. The wolf is going down the chimney to get the little pig. Now the little pig, who is the main character, comes face to face with the climax. What is he going to do? We want to know, what is he going to do? So we move into the falling action over here. The wolf. So the little pig decides to get the boiling pot of water and put it in the chimney, and the wolf comes down the chimney and he falls into the pot of boiling water. And what happens at the end of the story? The wolf eats the little pig. The pig eats the wolf for revenge. So we go from the beginning of the